I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I am awesome, man. It's been a great week. It's been an exciting week. So I've got a whole bunch of things to talk to you. We've got an amazing guest today, Rich Woodall, personal fan of ours. The last time he was on one of your shows, it was quite the adventure.
It's
Not
literally
necessarily because of Rich.
my favorite episode we ever did a Comic Burrito was
Right.
with Rich Woodall.
Right. So that's going to be wild. So we're going to get that. I'm going to make sure we share everything up. But Todd, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to level up.
You know what? I could go for a level up. Let's do it.
All right. Nice.
Level up. Speaking of level up, hey, I bought something at the comic book shop recently.
Oh yeah, what'd you buy at the comic shop? Was it Saga 61? It's really good.
Yes, yeah, that's what I want to talk about now. Can we talk about Brian?
I would like to talk about it. That ending.
Oh man, the Brian K. Vaughan's finally getting to. I think he's getting to that level.
I think he's gonna make it. You know, I had my doubts for a little bit.
But speaking of someone who's obviously already made it, because I got 2 of them this week. Oh shoot!
Oh man, yeah. Look at it. Look at that beautiful thing. Look at it.
Look at
it. Dude, it's been so wild. Selling out at Diamond, first time out, first time at bat. Like it has been wild. It's been very, very cool. I got a signing on Wednesday for it, but I also got Granite State Punk. Did I show this last time? Granite State Punk 2 is in. So I'm sending it out to people.
I read it again. I mean, I read it totally for the first time. It was great.
It's shiny.
Ooh, shiny.
Maybe I'll send you one of those since you're the co-host, or metal because you love metals. But this came in as well. People like this book.
Ooh, look at that.
So look at that. So I've been sending out tons of rewards. I think I'm at like 65%. So I'll get it done by the end of the week.
Nice.
Most of it.
I also say that's a good one.
I forgot to order the metal bookmarks. So I just ordered them this morning. So when they get in, so like everyone who doesn't get the bookmark, you'll get your stuff. If you got a bookmark, I apparently am punishing you for spending more, and I apologize.
Yep, only fair.
Rich, Charlie says that that book is prettier, so that's nice.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't think he read this issue of Saga because, dude, someone ranked me the most anticipated book over Saga, and I was just like, look, I know you're my friend, but don't put me in a that's how egos get built.
But if it's I think I was more anticipatory of your book, but I think but I would put it's super biased. Like I wouldn't be like, this is for everyone. This is obviously across the board. I'd be like, I'm excited to go grab my Travis Gibb off of the shelf, and like that's cool.
Yeah. And my our guest here tonight has a cover too. I'll see if I can grab
Saga trades. Well, that's fair. It's probably the best way to read it. But this one was whoo.
Yeah, this one you may want to read sooner.
Hoopla it.
But yeah, let's get our boy Rich in. Rich, I don't know if you know this, Todd, but Rich is actually from my hometown.
Oh, hey.
So that town that I talk about in Granite State Punk, well, I don't know if he's from there, but he visits there enough that it's important to him. And we're going to talk about the origins, but did you know that? Like, the Granite State Punk, all those things are things that he's very passionate about. In fact, he's done so many covers for Jetpack Comics, the comic that's mentioned in Granite State Punk. He's on their staff website. He doesn't work there. He don't work there at all, but whatever.
Amazing. Well, let's talk to him about it. Let's do it.
That before you guys say anything, I am now spoiled. That is the best intro I've ever had for any show or anything anywhere. That was amazing.
You only get to see it once, though. Todd is very particular.
I mean, well, tomorrow on YouTube, I'm going to just have that on like a loop.
I'll post it all on its own, so you can just put it on repeat.
Perfect.
They just keep running.
Can I make it my like Facebook banner? Because that would be great.
Right?
That's what all you know. You can do those shorts on you. That's what all of our shorts should be.
Just the yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Live free or die, New Hampshire in the house.
Yeah. Ice cold New Hampshire. That's where we are.
And for life.
I heard it's been wicked cold over there. You guys just had a bad snowstorm.
You know how snowstorms are up here. It was nowhere near what you probably experienced. We had 3 storms in a row, so it was kind of a pain in the ass, but it wasn't. It was snowstorms. You know what? Our winters have been really mild up here the last, I don't know, 5-6 years. At least where I'm on the seacoast, though. You know that, so it's like we don't get as bad as like inland New Hampshire does anyway.
Right.
Michigan, what up? I relate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's rough. I hear.
Yeah, we're right next to the lake too, so it's all like the lake effect. It's the whole thing. It's great.
That's true.
It's fun to be inside when it's happening.
So bad they have a mitten.
Yep. Yeah. Poor UP.
Right.
How's it going? So yeah, it's been a long time. Since I've gotten to interact with you.
Yeah, well, that was pre-COVID, probably, right?
It was during. It was early.
Oh, was it during?
Yeah, because Gods, I believe, was just coming out.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was right in the middle of. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, time flies.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually think wasn't the con that I was at that we appeared on the first con that opened post-COVID?
Yes,
I think it was.
Probably, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which in Florida that doesn't count.
Yeah.
COVID didn't happen in Florida. I've seen the numbers.
I was going to say, was that even a thing down there?
No, don't listen to Fox News. Just because they say it doesn't mean it's true.
Depends on who you talk to, huh? Yeah.
So I have known you. I'm really excited to have you on here. You're our first artist. We've had a lot of writers, but we haven't had an artist on the Level Up. It's because you guys are more talented than me, and it causes me anxiety. So I don't make friends with artists, but but I'm friends with you and Carmeline. That's about my list of. Oh, Joe likes me too. I could probably get Joe.
Yeah.
So that's my 3. Even ones who work for me, I'd be like,
Tyler, it's business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and being a writer and artist, like I try to be friends with everybody.
Right.
That's nice.
Maybe you like the writer side of me a little better than the artist side.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Well, I will tell you. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the first book that I know you from was Johnny Raygun. Was there something before
that? There was nothing. There was nothing before it. It was dark. Before that, there was darkness.
The dark days before the Empire.
There were dark days before that. No, Johnny Reagan. Yeah, so that was really the first. I had done like 2 pinups in a really, really small Boston local publisher called Red Mercenary Comics.
Okay.
And it was so Red Mercenary was run by this guy Saeed Dabinga, and I was 16, right? And I had a car. So Saeed lived in Boston. He didn't have a car. So at 16, I'm driving him and a bunch of other guys, Rob Stull, Mark Morales, who inks for Marvel, and several other guys, Hannibal King. I'm driving them up and down the East Coast, like hitting Philly and New York shows. And it was awesome. I mean, Saeed paid for me to get into shows, give me a table, hotel and stuff like that. And all I had to do was drive these guys. But that was such an education. He knew everybody, so he would introduce me to everybody. And it was pretty awesome. But so there was that. And then through him, I met a guy named Doug Penny, and he had a book. and for his second issue, he needed like a 7-page backup story. And he's like, "Do you have anything?" And I was like, "No, but I can come up with something." So I made a Johnny Ray Gun 7-page story. I think I was watching like a lot of Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and stuff at the time. So I was like, I want to do something. Yeah, I was reading Nexus and so I wanted to do something in that realm. And I came up with a really horrible Christmas story where Johnny Ray Gun fought Satan Claus. And yeah, it was horrible. It was really, really bad.
That's going to be in the next Holiday Spirits, right, Travis?
Yeah, next Holiday Spirits. We'll get it.
Absolutely.
Johnny Ray Gun versus Satan Claus 2.
Yes, the rematch. I had so much fun drawing that I'm like, I really want to do more with this character. And then I started developing it. I did a web comic of it, like early web comic stuff, which is nowhere to be found. Like I don't have files for it or anything, unfortunately. And then when I moved,
I can show you where to find it if you need it. I can maybe find it.
I would love to find that.
We'll talk offline. I may be able to find it.
I moved back to New Hampshire from Maryland, and met this guy Matt Talbot, and we hit it off because we had a love for Jack Kirby and Savage Dragon, and there was a Boston convention coming up, and Matt and I and a couple of our friends were like, "Oh, we should put together a comic, and we'll sell it at the convention. This will be great. This will be awesome. Like we'll all do like 5-10 pages each. We'll put out a comic." And Matt and I were the only two that ended up doing anything, and we worked on a Johnny Ray Gun comic. And because Matt and I share a brain, and because we had the same sensibilities and everything, and he was a much better letterer and inker than I was. I penciled it. We both wrote it. He inked it and lettered it. Designed the whole thing, and I think we printed like 100 copies, and I think we paid like $3.50 per copy, and then we sold them for $3 a copy. So we were really smart, right off the bat.
Yeah,
and
business acumen right there.
Yeah, it was great. But we went to the convention. We were all excited. Like I remember the night we got those. We got like the box of them, right? And Matt and I sat down in his living room, and we signed and numbered all of them. And we were just like holding it in our hands, like, oh my God, this is like a new baby, right? Like, oh my God, this is the most precious thing. It's our first real comic. And Ralph from Jetpack felt so bad for us because we were so dumb. He was sending people over throughout the entire show. He would give them like $5. He's like, "Hey, there's these two idiots that are sitting over. Can you just please go buy their comic because they're really dumb?" And yeah, we didn't sell out. We sold a lot. And then after the show, he's like, if you guys will actually do the work, I will publish the book for you. Because I'm way smarter than you guys are, and I won't lose 50 cents for every book. I think he ended up losing like $20,000 on it, but
but he didn't lose 50 cents per book. That's over the whole run.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of the origins of Johnny Ray Gun. Matt and I had a great 2 or 3 years developing that and putting it together and stuff, and had a really, really good time. We're working on a new book right now, so it's been a while. It's a little slow going, but we're having a good time.
Awesome.
So Todd, you have no experience with Johnny Ray Gun. This was all new information, right?
Correct. Yes.
Oh, I'll have to send you. I'll send you.
I'd love to check it out.
So let me tell you my origin story of Johnny Ray Gun.
Yeah.
Because I have a origin story. So it's between 2003 to 2007 or 2005, somewhere in there. I don't know where the timelines are. You know my friend Jason Nutter, OJ Nutter. He's was my best friend growing up. We collected comics together. But him and I always differed in comics. He was a Savage Dragon guy.
Yeah.
I was a Spawn guy. He was Peter Cannon Thunderbolts. I was Stray Bullets. Like every opposite. He was like that 1592, like that old. Remember that Image book, like that was like all old timey Kirby type book. What was that?
Oh yeah, 1963 or something.
Yeah,
like
1963. He was like always trying to shove these books, these Kirby books, Fantastic, or all these things. He's like, these are what you need to read, and I'm like, no, I need more crime and violence and chains.
Yeah.
So he was so excited because I had published in 2003 my first book, Government Bodies. I did a 4-page backup, and he's like, dude, I've got your artist for all your stuff from now on. He sent me a Johnny Ray gun. He's like, he's in our town. He's doing stuff in Rochester, New Hampshire, and you guys can do comics forever. It's gonna be, this is a match made in heaven. And I was like, it's a guy with a fucking ray gun, and it's almost 2000.
It's nothing like
early 2000. Like this is we are not the same.
Yeah.
This is not the same content.
Yes.
We are not going to, and I've never told you this story.
No, that's good though. That's absolutely right though. It's like, you know what? I was talking to Joe Schmalke today about this, and like we were talking about how when we get commissioned for things, people are like with Joe, Joe is like super horror, super dark, right. Like, that's like his specialty. And people will be like, oh, can you draw like My Little Pony? And Joe's just like, have you ever seen my work?
Like, it's going to be real fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. So like you not wanting the guy that draws just ridiculous ray guns, I applaud that, because if you had asked me at that point to draw like a crime thing, I'd be like, I'm not into that at all.
Well, you know who drew my story? You know him, Josh Bellinger.
Oh yeah, Josh is amazing.
Yeah. Josh drew my stuff back then, and we had dreams to take over the world, but then he decided to tattoo people. Apparently, he can make more money at that.
He's pretty good at.
You're good at it.
Yeah, both my daughter and my son-in-law have Josh tattoos.
That's cool.
No, I want to get one myself. But so that's the Johnny Ray gun. What was next?
So while we were doing Johnny Ray gun, and probably a little before we had launched Johnny Ray gun, Matt and I, because we were big Savage Dragon fans, and Matt had a pinup published in Savage Dragon, so he kind of had a connection to Larson a little bit. And Larson's so open and very easy to approach. He's not always like he's very he tells it like it is. He sometimes he's very blunt, but that's just kind of how he is. But anyway, so Matt and I got another pinup in Savage Dragon that we had both worked on, and then Eric let us do the origin of Killcat, which is one of the big Savage Dragon characters, which was crazy that he let us write and draw that. And in between that and doing Johnny Ray gun, since we had such success with getting pinups into Larson books, we're like, oh, well, this is easy. All you have to do is contact the creator and say, hey, I'll do a pinup for your book if you're interested. And 9 times out of 10, they said yes. And so we got pinups in Fear Agent and Invincible, like Invincible number 10, I think.
I think it's earlier than that. When I looked it up earlier today, I think it was earlier than that.
Yeah, like we got pinups in probably 8 to 10 Image books.
That's awesome.
So it was great. We were just reaching out to whoever would be nice to us, and do pinups for them or whatever. We did do a backup story for Rick Remender for Fear Agent that never saw the light.
Which one? Never mind.
Yeah, after we did the pinup, he's like, "Hey, I'm doing all these short stories, like little backups in Fear Agent. Would you guys be interested?" And so we pitched him like a bunch of different things, and he's like, "No, horrible, no." I guess that one will work. And so we did it, and he kept telling us like it'll be in the next issue, it'll be in the next issue, it'll be in the next issue, and it never showed up. So I've hated him ever since. He's my arch nemesis. He doesn't even know it. But
all the best ones are unknown. Yeah.
So that's kind of where we were for the longest time, is doing pinups and backup stories and stuff like that. And
nice.
And then we both bought houses and had to do freelance to pay the bills. Right. And everything in comic world kind of took a back seat. Like it really dried up after that for a while. Like we were just so focused on making money, because I don't think we had been paid for anything.
We'll do it.
Yeah, I don't remember the first thing I was paid for, but it wasn't at that point, that's for sure.
Well, and even all the people you've talked to, you're early work. You're not getting Invincible towards the end of the run where it's making tons of money.
Right.
It's early Kirkman where he's like, this may work. I don't know.
This kid.
Right. Oh, totally. Yeah, and we had done a couple things with Kirkman. Like he was really nice. That was back when he would answer my emails. I'm guessing if I sent an email to that email address at this point, it would just get kicked back to me. But yeah, no, he was super, super, super cool. We sat next to him at a convention and hit it off with him. And again, that was like within the first 10 to 12 issues of Invincible. Right. So it was a good time.
Nice. And then, so from then, so you then kind of take a break. You just do pinups. Was the Dark Horse after that?
No. So after that was, like I said, it was kind of the long dark times, days before the Empire. And then,
well, you already spent you already got Ralph 20,000 in debt. I mean,
yeah, we got Ralph in debt. We left Ralph hanging.
Right, smart.
Move on.
Yeah, well, so that was kind of the death of Johnny Ray Gun. So what happened was, Matt and I bought houses like within like a month or two of each other.
Right.
And at the exact same time, Paperback Bazaar, which Travis, did you go to Paperback?
I was a manager there. I worked there for a long time. Yeah.
I worked there for a couple months, and that is why I don't work at Jetpack, because Ralph knows he doesn't want me near a cash register or doing anything that I should.
Is that why he's 20,000 in debt?
That's part of why he's into it. Yeah. So Paperback Bazaar closed down, and Ralph didn't have a job. So he doesn't have a job. He can't pay for the next issue of Johnny Ray Gun, which was going to be our Savage Dragon team up. I had drawn 40 of the 50 pages that needed to be done for it, and then 10 pages just sat there for 15 years. And but I finally finished that. Anyway, so I went on to do a small book called Zombie Bomb.
Hold on, I gotta say a joke in there between.
Yeah.
So the reason why you didn't publish it for 15 years was not because you couldn't finish those pages. That was the 5 or 6 years where Eric Larson made Savage Dragon a porn book, right? He just didn't fit.
That was more recently, but yeah, I think we probably did the Kickstarter around the time
the porn time. Okay.
Yeah, which may explain why the numbers were low. No.
All right, Zombie Mom. I don't think we have a picture for that one.
No, nobody has a picture for that one.
It's not on Rich's site. I don't have it.
No. So, Zombie Bomb was this really cool thing. So as you probably know, Travis, like the Boston comic scene is like a little family, and
right.
And, we used to do conventions starting when I was 16. In Boston, there was a monthly convention at the Heinz. The Heinz, or not the Heinz. There was a hotel near Chinatown, and it was awesome. Like once a month, this guy would put on a show, and he was always nice enough to give me a table. Hey, what's happening?
Hey, Johnny.
Always nice enough to give me a table. I met like a lot of guys there, became a tight-knit family. And there's one guy, Adam Miller, who's an amazing illustrator, does a lot of stuff working with photos and painting on top of them and stuff. It was really, really cool stuff. So Adam and I hit it off, and he's a super high energy guy. And we he had a connection with this guy at Terminal Press, which was a very small press publisher. They did really beautiful looking books, but they did like super low print runs. And Adam and I pitched him on this idea, like, hey, we could do zombie, because this is in the heyday of Walking Dead is the biggest comic in the world, and everybody's doing a zombie comic. We're like, we could do an anthology and get all of our friends together and put out these great anthology books. And we had like 300 creators working on these books. We put out 6 issues over like a year and a half. They were all, I think they were 64 pages, really, really beautiful books.
Is this one of them, or is this something
separate? So that is kind of one of them. That is a book by Tony Donnelly. I think I probably lettered it and colored it.
And that's what it says. It says you're the colorist and the letterer.
Yeah, so he basically I think he did 2 or 3 Zombie Bomb stories, and when they were done, he just took them and kind of made his own little
yeah,
out of them. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, we basically what happened was we would get the books printed, take them to a convention and sell out, and then the publisher wouldn't print any more books. Like they had this weird thing where they were like, well, if more people want them, then they're worth more money, and we'll have an aftermarket.
If we could sell them.
Yeah.
What does that help you with an aftermarket? I've never understood that logic. That doesn't help the publisher.
It was ridiculous. So after issue 6, Adam and I, besides Adam and I, we were ready to kill each other by issue 6.
Sure.
A lot of the stuff was because of the publisher, but we had disagreements about content and stuff like that, and we were at each other's throat. There was a we're really good friends again, and all that's in our past. We joke about it now, but there was a ride back from a Philadelphia show where we were in a van together and did not talk to each other for a good 7 or 8 hours.
Ooh.
Very uncomfortable. We didn't have a good time at that show. Even though we sold out, it wasn't good. But awkward. Yeah, Zombie Bomb was great. That was kind of my first dip my toe into kind of creative direction and publishing. Right. Because wrangling 300 creators and putting together those massive books was a lot. But Adam and I learned a ton, and about the time that Zombie Bomb was ending, Craig Russo and I and Kelly Yates were talking about like digital comics. Like, what people are starting to do digital comics. This is really neat. Like, this seems like something we could do without a lot of overhead, without a lot of if we want to make an IP of our own, we can do it. We're not investing a lot of money in it. We're kind of doing it on the side and all this. And we came up with Artist Alley Comics, which we set up a website. We set it up so you could if you paid, I think it was 99 cents an issue or something like that, you would download 1 issue chapter. And I think we were doing like, Craig and I were setting it up where there were like 8-page chapters or something. And we were trying to kind of serialize it like that and put out like one every 2 weeks or 3, maybe it was one a month or something. I don't remember, but it was a very low impact schedule. And we had we were putting out Perhaponaut stuff through there. We were putting out Rich Case, who had done Doom Patrol and Spider-Man and stuff like that. He had a book called Annie Ammo that he was doing with us. Jason Copeland had a book that ended up going to Dark Horse called We something about monsters. It's a cool book about monsters and like giant mechs fighting monsters. We had Chris Kemple had a book, Red Vengeance, in there. Anyway, we had
Power Rangers. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we had a lot of books. Yeah, had a lot of books in there. We put out a sampler book that had like 5 pages from all of us. But really, Craig and I were, no offense to the other guys, we were the ones that were producing the most.
Sure.
On a regular basis, and we had done Kyra, Alien, Jungle Girl, and we after we did like, I don't know, 6 or 8 chapters of that, I had just met Mike Richards from Dark Horse, at Jetpack. It was, you know what, it was like on Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving or something. It was some weird, like really close to a holiday. And I remember he was there, and I was like, this is such a weird thing. I was on my way to my parents' house, and I'm like, I'm going to stop in just to say hi and show him my portfolio. And he gave me his card, and he's like, hey, if you have something, email me, pitch me. I'd love to work with you guys.
And nothing ever happened.
And I did email him, and it took like 3 months for him to get back to me. So I was like, I figured it was dead. And he just emails me out of the blue. He's like, hey, I really like that Kyra thing. Like, yeah, let's put it in Dark Horse Presents.
Amazing.
So
that's cool.
So Craig and I were super excited. We got like 12 issues of Dark Horse Presents, and then a trade.
Well, and Dark Horse Presents when it was the real Dark Horse Presents, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're probably one of the last. You know, I think
during the heyday.
It was like Craig and I joked that we killed it because. Like 4 or 5, like maybe 4 issues later, it was done. so yeah, we were one of the last story, but it was so cool because like we're in a book with Conan and like Jeff Darrow's doing stuff in the back. I think we were in one issue that like Mignola wrote like an Abe Sapien story, like all kinds of really cool stuff in there, like this cool comic history, you know, just being next to it. I think they were nominated for an Eisner while we were in there and stuff. So that, I mean, it has nothing to do with us really, but it's cool though. It's cool. Yeah, so we did that.
And wait a minute, you're not one of those people who take Eisner nominated even if you did nothing. Like I've seen people who've done a pinup and being like, I'm an Eisner nominated writer because it was in one of the issues.
I'm in that issue, man.
I mean, I guess I could. We were definitely. Joe and I were Ringo nominated,
right?
100% legit. I don't want to George Santos this and pad my nominations with anything.
That Eisner you won was crazy.
It was crazy. The first Eisner ever given out. I mean,
yeah.
Will gave it to me himself.
Yes. They almost renamed it the Woodall, but
right, but they're like, we'll give it a couple years. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun, and Craig and I, you know, have been friends forever. Craig is one of 2 people that I talk to on a daily basis. It's Craig and Joe. You know, I chat with Craig 24 hours a day. We basically like say good morning and good night to each other. Like it's all day long.
Cute.
Craig's probably tired of it by now.
This guy won't take a hint.
Right? Yeah, he's like, God, I can't block him because he'll just cry.
But I had a good. I just met him over when I was up there. And we had a great conversation at the table.
Oh yeah, that's right. You had dinner with us that night. Yeah.
So I liked meeting him. He was a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's a very good guy. Yeah, he's doing. Just to give him a shout out, he's doing Young Hellboy right now.
Oh yeah.
With Tom Snagowski, and that book is so much fun, and
it looks pretty.
Wait, the young Hellboy guy? Can we change this graphics real quick? Can you put up a
Hellboy? Yes.
Yeah. Almost my young Hellboy book. The second trade should be coming out pretty soon. I like the first one. The second one's so much. I say it's so much better because it's got Lobster Johnson in it. So you can't go wrong.
Anything with Lobster Johnson is better.
You're set now.
Yeah, and Tom is one of my favorite. Tom Snagowski is one of my favorite guys in the entire world. He is absolutely hilarious, and I just absolutely love him. He is a fantastic guy. He was kind enough to invite Craig and Matt Smith and myself over to dinner one night, and his house is a museum.
Wow.
I've never seen a non-museum that is. There are comic museums that don't have as much cool stuff as Tom has. Like every single room, and I mean the bathroom, the kitchen. The kitchen has like an Eric Powell piece up in it, like specifically drawn for a kitchen. Like it's amazing. His dining room, I walked in there and it's like, oh, there's a Frank Cho as you walk in that's like 100 inches by, like it's this giant thing. Oh, there's a Bernie Wrightson. Oh, Jack Kirby. No big deal.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's from floor to ceiling. Just the most amazing Disney World place I've ever been. I'm kind of hoping he adopts me.
Is the whole house slabbed? You have to like hermetically sealed inside.
Yeah, what's the whole house graded at?
Right.
The whole house is a 9.8.
High grade. He needs more security. I will tell you that, because like he needs cameras rolling 24/7 in there, because there were so many times I'm like, Tom, just leave the room for a minute. And,
right.
You will never miss this
show. Yeah. Just waddling out the door. Yeah, you fold it up.
I really don't know you that well.
Yeah.
I love it. That's cool.
Yeah, it was very, very, very cool.
I can't live like that. I'd be terrified of anyone coming over.
I would be scared to death my house would burn down, and I would go in to save everything. I would die.
Right. And then it's over. At least you don't have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah. At least you don't. Yeah.
My dad did that. So when I left, the trailer that my dad lived in burnt down, and he rushed in and saved all my comics. I had a lot of them with me, but like a decent few boxes, and I never had the heart to tell him. I was like, "Oh, they're destroyed, Dad. The smoke damage. Like, it doesn't matter."
Oh, that's so sweet. But
I have a few boxes that are smoke damaged. So I think I had to throw one box out, and it's good X-Men years too, which sucks. So
man, that's rough. That's rough.
So what was after Kyra?
After Kyra.
Did you read Kyra when the Scout release?
Mm-hmm. You're talking to Rich. I was really confused.
Good job.
I didn't hear that part, and I was just like, "I'm sure you read it. It's crazy." Yeah, it's great. I'm a big fan. I think it was really fun. And
that was a lot of fun.
It's not what I expected.
Well, that's good.
Like
I am always, you know what? I'm not a good salesman, because I'm like, oh, it's just a dumb Jungle Book. You know what I mean?
But that's what I thought it was, and then I was like, oh, it's not just a dumb Jungle Book, because the Jungle Book subgenre of comics, never appealed to me.
No,
it's not a thing I like. When it's like Jungle Man, and I'm just like, no.
No, she's trying to get out of the jungle the whole time.
Yeah, it's great, and I was like, this is cool. I dig it, because it's like it's not about the jungle, but it's in the jungle.
There's a couple of pages where she put more clothes on. That's definitely against the rules.
It's like, what? Am I reading this? Is this supposed to be a manga? Am I going the wrong way?
Exactly. Yeah, we had so much fun doing that book, and hopefully at some point we'll get to do more. But we got to wait till Craig's done doing Hellboy and Half-Nots and stuff.
Yeah.
But
hurry up with Hellboy. Just get over it, man.
Yeah. Why do you want to work on that horrible book?
That rag. Yeah.
Yeah. After Kyra, was pretty much the Electric Black, I think.
Would you say Electric Black or the start of the Turtles cover?
Oh, you know what? Turtles stuff was kind of peppered in between. It might have happened during the Zombie Bomb stuff. Like I had done one Turtles cover,
okay.
And then there was a really long hiatus when I didn't do any Turtles cover. Like I had done a Turtles cover, and then I did a Powerpuff Girls cover for the same people. And then I did I colored a Barbie cover over somebody else. Exactly.
How unprepared I was.
Yeah, I could go get my boxes
for literally my favorite comic book in the last 10 years.
Oh,
literally, I fucking adore this book. I preached this book so hard.
Thank you. Rich, we'll get back to Turtles. I think Todd's in a moment.
Oh, I got Electric Black. Sorry.
You is that a medal?
That's the medal.
Yeah. That's I don't even know if I have a medal.
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing that. I set an alarm for this thing. This is when they were really hot. They were leaving immediately, and I'm like, oh shit, it's Electric Black. I'm gonna fucking get one.
Well, thank you.
I got 39 out of 100.
Oh, nice.
And it's great. I've got this. This still has all the comics in it because I already own them all. I didn't need this box, but I got the box.
I definitely don't have a box.
All right, I'm getting my box.
That's cool. Everybody's got a box except for me.
I got the trade. I've got the singles. I got the bright green when they did the second printing.
Oh yeah,
number one. I got a couple of those because I got the heads up on it, so I was able to actually be like, I'm going to do this. Yeah, and I adore. I got all the presents. Dude, it's so. I got the one shots, the Caravan, which I was like, oh, they're finally putting Caravan in the title.
Yeah. Well, that was, you know what? That was like our weird. We had so we had talked about. Look at that.
Yeah,
I got a
box bros.
I got to contact Scout and have him send me one of those boxes. Those are cool.
It's crazy you don't have the box because the box.
Well,
is
if they
really
make you
cool.
buy it, wait till the holidays. They do it for half 50%.
All right, good deal.
I was a schmuck and bought it when it first released, thinking I was going to wait until Christmas.
I got to get this now.
Yeah, I do. Love this book.
Oh, thank you.
If it's not well established at this point, I love the Electric Black. My aesthetic is bright and depressing.
No, so that's perfect.
And it literally just fits everything. I love horror and I love bright and depressing. The art is just it's perfect and it fits it perfectly. Just the feel and everything. When there's different artists, I want it. I riot, but it's still enjoy it.
The different artists were Walter Osley.
I know, it's great. It's still very good. It's still good, but it's not the Electric Black, man. But it's really good, and it's all excellent. And I love this series. It's my favorite thing that I got out of the pandemic.
Thank you.
Times were shitty, and I read this so many times.
Well, and Electric Black for me, Rich, before you talk, is when I decided, all right, he can do non-Johnny Ray Gun stuff.
Yeah,
right, maybe
there it is.
I'll find that guy's email in mine.
Well, so that I think that's like a super important thing. Like, you know, I did Johnny Ray Gun and I did Kyra, and both of those are very light and fun. You know, Kyra touches on some darker stuff, but not really. Like it's not super dark. And yeah, I wanted to do a more serious book. And that was like our chance to do something and tap into that dark side, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, Joe and I, you know, he was friends with James Hake, and said, you know, we had, because he's from Maine, and we would run into each other at shows every once in a while. I think we drove into Boston for a show once, so we had like a good hour and a half in the car where we just got to chat and stuff. And by the end of that, we're like, you know what, we should try to work on something together. And we kicked around stuff. Like, we kicked around a lot of stuff. That all just was kind of like either he was like, nah, I don't want to do that, or I was like, nah, it's not really my thing. And then he said something about an antique shop with cursed items. I'm like, that's the one.
Yes.
And at first this is how we pitched it to Scout. We're like, we want to do an anthology book where we just tell stories, and that's really what the first issue is. It's like, it's short stories about the cursed objects in the Electric Black. And after we were done with the first issue, Joe and I were just like, we really like the characters we created that run the shop. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we want to tell their story more than like the cursed object stories. So we totally did like a quick shuffle when we were writing the second issue, and we're like, we're gonna mm-hmm. change up. Oh, there's my buddy Dana Black. What's up, Dana? Dana Black and I have been friends since I was like 16, going to those New York shows with the guys from Boston. And we have been friends forever and worked on little things here and there. And he is an amazing, amazing talent. Absolutely love Dana. All my heart.
Duh.
Yeah. So that's the Electric Black was born out of just Joe and I. Part of it was because Joe and I are both writers and artists. We wanted to do a book where we could both kind of spotlight our own stories and stuff. And so a lot of the stuff, like, we write a lot of it together, but a lot of the like short stories are kind of like our own, like the short stories.
One of you had a thing and you went off and did it.
Yeah, and we both kind of like we throw it at each other and say, hey, does this fit? Does this work?
You don't want to go too off the rails on your own. Yeah.
And I think like 99% we're like, yeah, that's freaking awesome. So that's been really, really cool. And we hope to do more of that in the future.
That's my follow-up question, because come on, man. I'm on this train. I want it to keep going. I love it as it is. It's good stuff, but like
we've got a lot planned for it. It's a matter of, like, Joe's got so many that's the problem.
Is he still doing stuff?
Yeah, he's still doing things. He's got a book right now, 7 Years in Darkness, that is probably in previews right now. I'm pretty sure the second issue.
I think actually the second issue is in previews.
The second issue is in previews.
I think it's for CEX.
Yes, CEX. And that book is really cool. It's funny. So you can check out Joe's Patreon, and you can get a lot of the story. I don't know if he's doing it weekly or not still, but
if I pay, is there a tier where I get him to tell me the news, but he's been drinking?
No. Yeah, every tier.
Perfect.
I am sad that he doesn't shock either himself or other people as much as he used to. I don't know if you were around for that part, but he used to have like stun guns.
Literally shock people, not metaphorically.
Absolutely.
Literally shock people. Like, haha, tased you.
Yes, he was in a studio with Ben Bishop, who's known for his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff, and Dylan Andrews, who's another creator. They were in a studio together, and it was a small space. Like, there wasn't a lot of room to run. And he used to break out the taser every once in a while. It was pretty awesome. He used to tase himself though, but they would do like Kickstarters and stuff. And it was like, all right, if we reach this goal today, I'm gonna tase myself in the nuts.
Amazing.
And,
The jackass of comics.
So that's where the electric came from.
That's where the electric came from. So, yeah, Joe's really, really good at names. 7 Years in Darkness, We Don't Kill Spiders. Like, these are all great. Electric. He came up with Electric Black.
It was originally Electric Taint, but then
right, exactly. We were like, I don't know if that's marketable.
Yeah,
but
and then Cherry Blackbird happens.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a good run on that, and
thank you for it. It's wonderful.
We will be back at some point. It'll probably be either later this year or early next year.
I mean, he could just reprint it with another cover, and I'd buy it. I mean,
we didn't do that enough for you with the first issue.
Oh, I know. It's just
there's got to be 20 versions of that first.
There's a lot to collect.
A lot.
It's true. The only reason the action figure, like I know you were all in on it, the action figure stuff.
I was
just like, so I'm not going to get my action figure comic book cover. Like I need one more Electric Black cover.
Right.
At least one more.
At least one more. Yeah. Did you get the Sienkiewicz cover?
No, I don't.
Oh, I'll have to send you guys the Sienkiewicz cover. It's it's still Sienkiewicz.
I've seen it. It's great.
Yeah. It's
I think
really awesome.
We got it in here. I think I
is it in the box? To be fair, I literally never opened it. Like I opened it and it's
right. You're like, I don't need that.
Now, so this is something you may not have, Todd, that I have.
Oh yeah, the holiday special.
Oh. So this was like kind of a New England thing.
Is that in the box?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was like, I've not even seen that before.
So there is one more thing that you need. So let me tell you how I got this.
Son of a.
Rich posted it on his Facebook, and I was going to the printer that day, and I was like, "Hey, Rich said I could have one," because I did ask you. I did ask you. I said, "Rich said I could have one. Can I get one?" And then, you know what they gave me, Rich? I think I've told you guys. They gave me
100 of them.
No, they gave me that.
Oh, that whole shipment? That's amazing.
And I'm like, cool. Oh, I'll take that, but that's not what I'm looking for.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's great.
So we got to get Todd the holiday special. See if we can find it.
Yeah.
I think I could get you one.
Yeah.
You gonna go pick it from the comic tree?
No, actually,
go right where they're freshly made.
A small stack of them on a shelf. So I was like, it may be damaged slightly, but we can get you one.
That's fine. I don't care. I'm an actual collector. I'll never sell anything. So it can be in whatever shape.
You're gonna hate it because there's a different artist in it, but
I'll just tear off the cover.
Bitch. Joe did the cover, so that's worth it.
Yeah, I'll take the cover. We're all set. Here we go. Can I get
that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the round of anthologies where the writers get a chance instead of the artists, because you did the artists already. And then we're going to test our friendship, Rich. I'm really excited about that. We're going to get a lot of messages that day, and I'm going to remind you of a lot of things.
Awesome. I love it. Oh.
But yeah, because I'm a rich guy. I don't know if you told Joe Smelky when Granite State Punk. I think I've shared it. It's not a secret, but it was a Black Caravan book.
Yeah.
It was a Black Caravan book. But when Joe and I met each other, because I had met Rich several times, but Joe and I never met. He's like, "I like you, kid," and we're drinking. I like you, kid, but you're a rich guy. So like, you got to talk to.
You're a rich guy. That's great.
He's like, I like you. Like, I approve your stuff. I think your book's going to be great, but you're a rich guy.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of how Joe and I ran Black Caravan was, Joe brought in certain people. I brought in certain people, and to like manage the whole thing, I had kind of a group that I would manage, and Joe had a group that he would manage, and that kept kind of the work share nice and even between the two of us.
It's not awkward when you have to have like the last thing you want to do is like your friend of a friend. You have to make the awkward message to. It's like, no, this shouldn't be on me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you're a rich guy. Let him have to give you awkward notes.
Thankfully, I'm trying to remember. That only happened like once or twice, where we had to be like, oh, you know what? It was with Swamp Dogs. because they wanted to put. I don't know how much you know about Swamp Dogs, but it's it's Confederate zombies, right?
That's right.
And
I was like, I know that. I remember the title. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lesbians and competitive zombies.
Yes.
Confederate
Yep.
zombies.
Written by white people.
So they had one cover that had like a big Confederate flag on it, and we're like, guys, I don't think we can do the Confederate flag thing. Like, you put it on the inside if you need to.
Sure.
Don't want it on the cover.
Yep.
So
that sends the wrong message to just like, as soon as you see it, you're like, nope. Because I would nope out of that. I'd be like, nah.
Right. Yeah. But thankfully there were if there were any others, there were very few conversations that we had to have with people that were just.
That's cool. Yeah.
Crushing people's dreams. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Electric Black, when we came into Scout, Electric Black 1 blew away, like doubled their highest selling books, and we like easily became their highest selling book, and by like issue 3, they were like, you guys can do whatever you want, and we're like, we want to do a horror imprint, and that launched Black Caravan and all the other stuff that we did.
And that was like my heyday of the Scout box, right there.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, that was just like every time just opening that up and just like swoop, 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 let's go. I loved that. Oh, those are prime like 2020 days and like 2021.
It was you know what? It was super awesome. That like 2 or 3 years of being a publisher, and the biggest thing that I missed was like creating, because outside of writing and coloring Gods of Brutality, I didn't really draw all that much of anything. I drew a couple covers here and there, but like I miss doing sequential work. So
yeah, let's bring into Gods. Let's talk about Gods.
Seems like a good transition to talk about Gaz.
Yeah.
I remember getting this number 1 and being like, what?
So I one of my best friends in the entire world, I went to high school with this guy. He's not he reads comics that I'll give him, or if he finds something. He's not a comic guy. He doesn't like collect, but he'll read my stuff, and like every once in a while he'll read a trade that a friend gives him or whatever.
Sure.
And just like a week or two ago, I can't remember. I said, he asked me what I was working on. I told him, and he's like, "Are you working on any more Gods of Brutality?" And I'm like, "No, not right now. Like, we're working on this Bloody Ring of Dracula, which is with Mark Welser, who draws." Yeah, and Dana did an incredible pinup for Brutality.
Nice.
I can't remember if it was in issue 2, 3, or 4, but it's awesome.
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, Mark and I are working on that other thing, but he's like, I'm glad you're not working on Gods, because that is the worst thing you have ever written in your entire life. And I'm like, oh, do tell. Like, tell me more about how you feel about my book. And he's like, it's like you were writing to a bunch of 12-year-olds. And I'm like, that's exactly what I was doing.
Okay,
like,
so you got the point.
Yeah, I was like, did I hit my target audience?
Right. I liked it for that.
I said I wasn't trying to make like a super smart, like I wasn't trying to make Watchmen.
It'd be awkward if that is what you were trying to do.
It was like, oh, you kind of missed the mark.
Has he read Sergeant Werewolf or Johnny Regan? Like
this like, highbrow shit, Rich, you need to lower it down some. God.
I like to do fun books that just have dumb stuff in them.
Yeah. And this fits the bill.
Yes, that is what
it's just a fun time. It's super dumb, but it's just so much fun. Like, it's great. And that's there's I don't get not loving that, because like
I think he was sad. He was sad. He felt like I could do better.
Hilarious. You're not living up to your potential, Rich.
And then I was thinking, I was like, have you read all the other shit that I've written? Because none of it is Watchmen. Like,
you see the
like
bar I'm going for,
like,
right?
Sergeant Werewolf is a werewolf in World War II.
Right.
Like, it's not real highbrow.
Right.
What?
There were sewer sharks that had legs and shit.
I thought isn't Sergeant Werewolf mostly prose?
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's just. I try to do things that, like, if you read the title, you're like, oh yeah, I get that book.
Yep, I'm here for it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Which that cover is so cool. I love it.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like it's classic, but it's fucking werewolf.
Well, and so the origins of Sergeant Werewolf was Matt and I were doing Johnny Raygun, and I can't remember if it was issue 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it was. At one point, Johnny goes back to his home to visit his parents, and his dad is Ralph, by the way.
Really?
From Jetpack Comics, yeah. And so he's in the basement with his girlfriend, like in his old room, which is like in a basement, and his girlfriend's down there, and like he's got comic posters on the wall, and it's like a 16-year-old boy's room, right? And she's going through his video collection, and she pulls out a video, and she's like, Sergeant Werewolf, what the hell is this?
Amazing.
And he's like, that is awesome. That's the best movie ever made. And ever since then, I was like, man, I really wanted to. It was a throwaway gag, but I'm like, I really want to do a Sergeant Werewolf book, because
that's awesome. That's
too
great.
much fun to pass up.
That gag that you just take too far and now it's a comic. I love it.
Absolutely. You know what? Johnny Raygun is filled with gags that will someday. There's a Kung Fu zombie in Johnny Raygun, and hopefully someday I'll get to a Kung Fu zombie book.
Awesome. Are all the zombies Kung Fu, or is it one zombie that does
just
Kung
one
Fu?
zombie? Yeah,
Okay.
Just one zombie does Kung Fu. He's got like. He could do like a punch where his fist would come out and a chain is attached.
Sweet. I was gonna ask if you like took off his arm and he used it as a nunchuck.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like all kinds of ridiculous.
That's great.
Yeah, that one's just gonna be ridiculous. I mean,
that's your magnum opus, correct?
Yes, I'm just waiting for the right time.
Yeah,
that's going to be the Watchmen.
That's the
Watchmen. Wasn't quite there.
It goes from like 1 to 52 or something like that. It's like this, and it starts as this slapstick thing and ends as Watchmen.
Exactly. You're like, oh wow, I really didn't see that
stuff. It does feel like everything could fit in one continuity, a ridiculous continuity, but it can absolutely
the Woodall verse.
Yes, the Woodall verse. Yeah. I because I've got so many ideas, I've always wanted to do just an anthology book that's just all my ideas just crammed into 64 pages of whatever. Yeah. That's exactly right, Dana.
That's great.
So that trade, and so we didn't touch base on. Let's touch base on it just a little bit. So Johnny Raygun comes back recently, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Where you did a Savage Dragon crossover.
Yeah. So
how did that work? Eric just said you could use Savage Dragon. Did you pay him? Is that where the $20,000 dad comes from?
That happened so much later.
We bought it in '99 when Savage Dragon was at its height.
So what happened is, while we were doing Johnny Raygun, the original 6-issue arc, we got done with issue 6. And we're like, what are we going to do next? Like, are we going to do issue 7? Like, what's next? And we had just happened to do a pinup for our friend Craig Olson, who's a big Savage Dragon fan. And he commissioned us to do... See, both Savage Dragon and Johnny Raygun have a Dimension X in the comic. And he's like, it would be awesome if Johnny Raygun and Savage Dragon are in Dimension X. And they're just there. Like, can you do a pinup of that? And we're like, yeah, that's awesome. We'd love to do that. So we did that pinup, and we posted it on the image message boards. And we're like, hey, this is something we did for Craig, and and somebody goes, "Oh, that would be an awesome book," and Eric goes, "Do it." And so Matt and I were like, "Did he just tell us we could do a Johnny Reagan like Savage Dragon team?"
Moderator, please confirm this is Eric.
So I immediately like hit up Eric. I'm like, "Hey, were you serious about that? Like, is it okay? Do you don't mind if we do a team up book with Savage Dragon?" He's like, "No, go ahead and do it." So we pitched him on one idea, and he did not like the first idea at all. It seems that seems to be our thing. Like, we always pitch something, and they're like, "God, no, that's
right.
That's way too far out there." So we usually reel it back in, and ended up doing like a buddy cop, kind of scenario where Johnny was. He's always been a fuck up.
Right.
So Savage Dragon needs to come in and kind of teach him how to be a peace officer properly.
Yeah.
So like I said, that was the next thing we were gonna do, and then, like I said, I did 40 pages, penciled, and we had an inker, another local artist, Ken McFarlane, inked it. Matt and I both wrote it. Matt lettered it. Or no, Matt lettered the 8-page preview that we did. And then we bought houses. Ralph lost his job, started Jetpack, and it just sat there forever. And it was one of those things that had always kind of been in the back of my head, and it's just been bugging the shit out of me for like 12, 15 years, however long it was in between. And finally, I had started my Patreon, and I did Sergeant Werewolf, and I was doing a page a day. A page a week, not a page a day. Let's slow down. I was doing a page a week posting, and after Sergeant Werewolf was done, I'm like, well, what can I do next? And then I thought, oh, I can finish Johnny Reagan Savage Dragon. If I'm posting a page a week, like, that'll give me like motivation to color all the stuff and draw the last 10 pages. So by the time I catch up with the 40 pages I've already got, I'll have those 10 pages done, and then I'll do a Kickstarter. And so after it was all on Patreon, I decided to do like a double Kickstarter. It was the Savage Dragon Johnny Reagan book and the Sergeant Werewolf book. So at the same time. And so finally, after like 15 years, I finished it. And finally got it out. I was really, really, really happy that I finally got it out.
Yeah, that's exciting to finally just it's out there.
Yeah, it took way, way, way too long, but I always finish what I start, no matter how long it takes me. Travis will tell you that it just took me 2.5 months to do 8 pages for him. So.
I mean, a little less than Savage Dragon, but that's fine.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Let's I've told people, so let's not make it. It wasn't for me, though it was in my book. It is with Cullen Bunn.
With Cullen Bunn,
great Cullen Bunn.
Yeah, I was very excited when Travis like approached me. He's like, "Hey, Cullen said he would write a story. I'm gonna send him like a couple artists. Like, would you be interested in being one of the artists?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I would." and then like months went by with like not a lot of communication, and so I was thinking, I was like, "Oh well," I figured Carl got it, right? Like, I mean, come on, Carl is amazing. He is just so good. He drew like 6 or 8 pages for one of the Electric Black Presents, and I've got all those pages, amazing pages. I think I colored them in the book, so I was just like so excited, so happy, and he's such a nice guy. So I figured, I was like, he's got it. Like, I don't even want to follow up with Travis because of it. And then one day you reached out and you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna just tell Cullen that you're the guy.
Yeah. So time went on, and people, the other people who we had on that list signed on with other projects, other title people on the campaign. And I was like, I'm still getting Cullen. I'm going to give him one last try, because he said yes right off the bat, and then didn't communicate for a bit. As we know now, he apparently was working on 27 titles that came out that month. We were not
27
aware
number ones.
Well, this is like when we talk. This is like in the Basque list, like the early Basque list. So we only had like a book a month.
It's when it started happening.
It literally went from that to 12.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's great. I always joke. I'm like, he's got at least 1 or 2 books at every publisher. Basically.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Don't ever tell Cullen Bunn that you were out of the Cullen Bunn business, because that's what Marvel did. That's the story. Marvel. Yep. Apparently, he's like, all right, I'll work for every other mother effer.
Right. Yeah.
I'll be everywhere.
Everybody else. I'll do 2 books for everybody else. Yeah.
He's the opposite of an exclusive.
When Travis told me I had it, I was like, oh my God, this is like life-changing. Awesome. I'm super excited about it. Like I had wanted to work with Cullen for a really, really long time, because kind of like Dana was saying, like Six Gun is one of my all-time favorite, and Harrow County and
Harrow County's great. Yeah.
Really, really good. But yeah. So that was exciting. I'm glad I just finished coloring it today and sent it off to Travis. Like,
nice.
It was nice to have it off my plate.
We'll show a page. Why don't we show a page?
Oh yeah, let's show a page.
Let's show a page. Do you have a page you want to show?
Page 6. That's the most exciting page.
Knew which one right off the bat. 6.
As long as that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's just nudity. Like, come on, man. What the heck?
You see nudity? That's a Smelky page. I can tell that's a Smelky page.
Art changes.
It's got some nudity in it.
Cullen Bunn's, I think he's had a little bit of nudity. I don't think he's had
a little bit.
Probably.
He writes too much for it to not have happened at some
point. Right.
Let's see how big this is. Let's see if I can make it bigger.
I've heard that before.
Can you make my screen? Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
All right, that's good. All right, let me see if I can make it bigger on this end.
That's awesome. I mean, it looks
getting bigger.
Yeah, that's working.
We may have to scroll.
Cool.
There we go.
Awesome.
Dagon.
Look at that 2-headed kaiju. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's Dagon. So that is some cool stuff.
Yeah.
That is what you can look forward to in Cthulhu Invades Neverland. It's going to be a dope book. I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very, very cool stuff. I was so happy. I mean, working with Cullen, and then you get Lovecraftian stuff like pirates. I got to draw pirates. Like, I'd never drawn pirates before. That was awesome. So much cool stuff all in one story. That was very, very cool to work on.
That's awesome.
And I'll give a little bit of spoiler. Cullen was supposed to draw to write about the crocodile. There is 0 crocodile in the story, but it's Cullen Bunn, and he can do what he wants. So unlike everybody else who writes the book, where I'd be like, hey, man.
Yeah, it's funny because when Travis told me, he's like, yeah, Cullen's going to write a story about the crocodile. I'm like, oh, awesome. Like, and so I was like sketching crocodiles for like
ready for it.
Like, all right, I think I can draw a crocodile. Like, all right, I think I got it down. And then I got the script, and I'm like, yeah, there's no crocodile in this.
You put one in the background. Just I've been working on it. I'm gonna stick one in there.
That's in there.
So I think we're wrapping up. We have some end questions that we're going to ask you.
Sure.
And then we'll talk about any new stuff that you have at the end of that. Cool. Thank you for coming on, Rich.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
I am super blessed. So, Rich, if you guys don't know this, Rich Woodall did one of my first Kickstarter books. He did a cover for Broke Down 40 Bodies #2. And he also just did my first direct market book, the version. So I'm super blessed to have him in my life, and that we've got to work on some really cool stuff together.
No, thank you for having me. You've been way too kind.
So, I am blessed, and regardless, OJ, this is all because you made me become friends with him because of Johnny Raygun, which I wanted nothing to do with.
I don't blame you.
One more question. This is just for the old people who are watching this, like
Sure.
me. I don't even think Todd knows that this exists. Is Johnny Raygun part of the original cast from the War, Indie Comics War? What is it called?
War of the Independents.
War of the Independents. Are you in it?
Yes. I think Johnny Raygun is on 2 different covers at least. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, he's so that was a funny thing because
it's a cool book.
It
sounds
is
cool.
I kind of want to redo it, to be honest.
I would love for them to bring it back because that just sounds dope.
Idea.
I'm in for it.
I don't know if the last issue got released.
No, they haven't finished. They're 2 issues behind.
They're 2 issues behind. But yeah, that was kind of similar to when we started the Savage. So for those of you that haven't read the Savage Dragon Johnny Raygun team up, we were kind of doing that same more of the Independence thing, not the plot or anything, but where we had 1,000 guest stars in there. So unofficially, but officially, we got the Goon, Invincible, Firestarter, the Moth from Steve Rude.
Wow.
And a bunch of I think there's like 30 or 40 different creator-owned properties in that because we were trying to. So, like, again, when we were doing that, we were still talking to, yes, Red Eye showed up, Dana's character. We were still talking to Kirkman, and we were just asking everybody, like, hey, we've got this Savage Dragon team up thing, like, we're gonna have a bunch of cameo appearances. Oh, Madman's in it.
Yep.
We're like, would you mind if we just put had a cameo appearance? We're not gonna give him dialogue or anything, just gonna like put him in the background. And almost everybody said yes. And so the thing Kirkman said, because this is right when Kirkman was starting to get pretty big, he's like, you guys can put Invincible in there, but don't tell anybody that I told you can put him in there. So, so now I'm telling everybody.
Which is a weird flex. Basically, like, when they sue you, I'm going to let them sue you.
I'm gonna just totally deny. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. To be able to. One side story with that is I was really, really lucky. I don't know exactly how. I think somebody must have dropped out or something. There was a panel at one of the Boston shows, and it was Jeff Darrow and Terry Moore and Stan Sakai and Mike Allred and me on a panel. And I was, when they asked me and they told me who was on the panel, I was just like, oh my God, like, I've got the best seat in the house, right?
Can I ask questions?
Yeah. What am I gonna add to this conversation? It was really good. But after it, like, I'm gushing to Mike Allred, like, oh my God, like, you're one of my heroes, like, amazing. And I don't sell any of my Johnny Raygun pages. Like, I've got every Johnny. Well, I don't have every Johnny. I have 95% of all the Johnny Raygun pages that I've ever done. I've given a couple to Matt, my buddy Matt, and I gave one to my buddy Adam Miller when we were working on Zombie Bomb, and it was the Madman page because he's a big Madman fan. And I knew I was going to meet Mike, and I was like, "Hey, I've got you. You probably don't even remember this. You said I could use your Madman in Johnny Raygun." He's like, "Oh no, I totally remember." And I was like, "I have the page that I drew. Can I get you to sign it?" And so I got it from my buddy. I had him sign it, and I gave it back to my buddy. And that was like the coolest thing.
That's awesome.
Ever. Mike was such a super nice guy. We didn't get to talk nearly long enough, but yeah, one of my all-time favorite guys to meet.
That's really cool. I hate to do this. I gotta run.
No, that's fine. It was great to talk
Travis
to you.
is gonna. It was so good talking to you. I hate this so much, but I thank you so much. You're awesome, and
No.
You both are great, and congrats on all of that. I will be listening to this later and checking it out, but I gotta go. But
okay,
Travis will take care of you. So
Yeah,
he can read questions pretty good. So
I'll read those questions pretty good. If you leave though, is it gonna mess up our? Oh, thank you.
No, I'm gonna. Yeah. I'm just gonna turn it off.
Not ahead.
Just make sure to hit end stream when
I
you're
will.
done.
Yeah, you don't want to Dale Keown the rest of this.
Right? It's just.
I mean, I kind of do if I could get
room
the
for the
press
rest of the
got. I mean, it
time.
wasn't great press, but I'll take it.
You haven't drank nearly enough to do
Yeah,
that.
I've only got one Guinness.
Right? Yeah,
Todd's
that's
been
not
getting
enough
up
for-
way more than I have, so I
Yeah,
have not.
that should be me. All right. See you guys.
You, Todd.
All right. So we
Hey,
have a
it's
few
just
questions
Sure.
that we ask all of our guests. So we're going to go through those real quick. So, first question. Actually, hold on. Let me make sure I don't have some sort of He's got all these graphic stuff. I got to make sure I got no video clip. I think we're good. Actually, I wouldn't know if we're good or not, to be honest.
I mean, it looks good from here.
It looks good from here, right? He's getting. Look at how pretty. All that's Todd. Todd does all
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great.
It's good stuff. I think I can play your video again. You want to see if I can do that?
Sure.
Let's do it.
I don't mind seeing that again. Wow.
It makes you feel like you've actually created something in comics, right?
I'm like, wow, look at all that cool stuff that somebody did. I want to read that stuff.
Right. And the first thing, like, I'm sure just like me, you're just like, well, it's missing my Trump book. It's missing.
Yeah, don't talk about the Trump book too much.
Yeah, there's no 100. How many Turtles covers? Because that was a question that I wanted. How many Turtles covers have you done? Do you know?
I think I've done like 9. Like,
wow.
This is the newest one. You can get it Jetpack Comics right now. Last Ronin #1. First appearance of all the new Turtles, by the way.
Yes.
So super cool. Jetpackcomics.com. They got tons of those. I think like 9, maybe. Let's see, like 5 Last Ronin, that Last Ronin, Turtles 100, Turtles Armageddon game, and the first one that I did, which was like issue 23 or something. Yeah, so like 9.
Do people come for you for Turtles covers more, or that killer Master of the Universe cover?
Not as much with the Masters of the Universe cover. I love that cover.
I mean, I hated that book, but I loved that cover. That cover was killer. I ordered it. Yeah.
That was really cool. That was one of those. So I owe a lot to Ralph. I mean, outside of him like dropping crazy, ridiculous money on the Johnny Ray Gun stuff, he's been one of my best friends my entire adult life. Yeah. And he has supported me like nobody else when nobody should have. And he's been just way too good to me. But he's got me all those covers, and that was one of those situations where there's always a couple times when like I did Marvel trading cards, sketch cards for a little while, which was horrible. But it was one of those things where I'm like, when am I ever, I may never ever be published in a Marvel book again. I'm going to take advantage of this, and I asked for 1,000 cards. So I did 1,000 Marvel cards. So I did as many characters as I possibly could, because I'm like, when am I ever going to draw Aunt May? I drew her there. All right. All right, here's Paste Pot Pete. And here's the Trapster, because you can't have Paste Pot Pete without the Trapster.
Right.
So the Masters of the Universe cover was one of those opportunities where I'm like, I may never get to draw, like, play in that playground again. So I'm going to make the most of it, and I'm going to do as many characters as they'll let me. And yeah, I had.
It was hands down the best cover that came out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, it was great. I have a story. There's a story from Carl that talks about similar stuff where he got offered. I think he's done a couple of Ninja Turtles now, but the first
Yeah.
Ninja Turtle he did was the Ninja Turtles vs. Ghostbusters. Have you heard this story?
Yes. Oh yeah. No, I haven't heard the story. No.
Yeah. So he was asked to do it, and he was just like, man, and I'm not. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. Going, the pay rate isn't amazing, right? Like it's okay. It's not amazing. You do it because you love these characters, right? It's what it is. And you can't even get mad at IDW. Look at their stock, so you can't even get mad at them.
Right. Yeah.
So he was asked to do the Turtles versus the Ghostbusters. It was like, okay, all right. So who do I put on the cover? Oh, you got to put all of them. Okay, right. So all 4 Ghostbusters. All right, cool. Oh, we also need the vans. So we need the Turtle van and the and it's like the lowest I've ever been paid on any cover, even indie work.
For the most work.
For the most work, but much like you.
Yeah.
When is he going to be able to draw the Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles?
Right. Yeah. It's pretty awesome, and a lot of the Turtles covers and that Masters of the Universe cover. I've got a retirement portfolio, and when I do stuff like that, stick it in the retirement portfolio, and it's one of those things where hopefully by the time I'm ready to retire, I'll have done some cool things that make those go up in value. But it's stuff that like I don't want to sell. Right. If I sell it, I want to sell it for a premium, because it's like I just don't want to let that stuff go.
Right. You kids won't appreciate it. The damn kid.
No, I mean my kids can give a shit less about comic books. Like my son probably outside of maybe one art collector has more of my art than anybody else hanging on his wall. Every birthday and Christmas, he's like, "Okay, Dad, I want," and it's always, it gets more and more complicated every year. So like I'm up to drawing like full covers with trade dress and everything. And he dictates what's on there. He's like, okay, it's Spider-Man, and he's trapped in an hourglass, and the Sandman is the sand in the hourglass, but the rest of the Sinister Six is around it. And I'm like, oh, geez. It turned out awesome, but
I've seen a few of these. They're great. That's a reason to follow Rich. He does, and you just had a great Fantastic Four commission.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, that was this week. Yeah, we'll talk about your Patreon so you can follow that stuff. There's some great stuff. But let's go through our things, and then we'll do an end.
Sorry.
Yeah. Right, so no, you're good. It was me. I want to talk about Turtles covers. All right. So the first question.
Sure.
What do you think makes you stand out in the comic market?
Makes me stand out. I don't know if I stand out at all. I mean, maybe I do. I'm not a good self promoter. I would say, I guess, if I do stand out at all, it's maybe my ability to do like the whole, I'm a one-stop shop. Like I can do everything from pencils, writing, lettering to publishing. Like maybe that's it. Like I said, I don't know if I stand out. If I do, I appreciate that. Now, if I do, awesome. Yeah, no, I guess that's it. Something like that.
Maybe Dana has an answer for you. Well,
maybe. Dana's always way too nice to me. He's known me way too long.
So as we've talked about this, buying the house, and there's been setbacks throughout the years of various things. What keeps you going in this field? This very, very difficult field.
Yeah, this is a super difficult field. The thing that keeps me going is because I have to tell stories. Even if I was never going to ever publish a comic again, I would still draw comics for myself. Like I love sequential work. I love telling stories, even when I'm doing a pinup or a cover. Like unless I'm given a direction that it has to be a certain way, I want to tell a story in that cover or pinup. just because I think that's really, really important to convey stories and tell stories. My dad is a great storyteller. I think growing up, I would be enthralled with whatever story he was telling. He just told amazing stories, and maybe that rubbed off on me and made me want to tell stories and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. That's but it's like a compulsion. If my wife will tell you, if I don't draw for a couple days, I am the most miserable person to be around. I am mean and angry, and it's just like nobody wants to be near me because like it's like people who are addicted to coffee and don't have their coffee in the morning. This grumpy asshole is what I turn into. So I draw every single day, uh, whether I need to or not, because it's just something I love to do. I have to do it.
Oh, yeah, I have a similar thing, not with writing per se, but I have to read. I become less of a, like, comics are like my therapy. I need to
Yeah.
read a few
Oh yeah.
comic books to calm me down to like.
That's exactly it. It's very therapeutic. Like I'll get into it's a zone, you know. You get into a zone and you kind of work, even though maybe you're not thinking of it consciously, maybe subconsciously, like
Yeah.
stuff stuff works itself out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and my writing like is very sporadic. Like I'll sit down like 5 days to write, and I'll write very little on 3 days, and then that fifth
It'll
day,
just be a flood.
all right, cool, it's done. Next on to the next thing. Like so, I've got to do that, and that sucks, but it's just sitting through it, right, and getting through it.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Dana says it's because you give him pity work. Yeah,
It is never pity work.
that's
Dana,
why you keep going. That's why you keep going.
yeah.
That makes you special.
Like I said, Dana is amazing and has always been amazing and has always been an inspiration for me.
We'll have to get him in one of these
You
cool
should
things.
you should definitely get Dana on. Absolutely.
All right. What does leveling up in comics look like for you? And so I've had to explain this one to a couple people. So
Yeah.
for me, like my goal is Marvel and DC. I'm going to keep working
Sure.
until I can write. I don't care if I'm writing Spidey and his amazing friends. Spidey is giving Gwen an ice cream, and I'm appalled at doing it because Gwen is dead in my heart. But at least I'm writing Spider-Man for 1 second.
Yeah.
Like, what is your level up? Because as I found this, and as we go through this, some people don't give a shit. Like,
Right.
I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that's all I want. They're like, nah, I just want to do my books. And I'm like, what? So what's your level up?
It used to be working for Marvel and DC.
Okay.
I used to say, like, it's similar to you. I was like, I will draw an entire book of Jimmy Olsen walking a dog in Metropolis. Like, if that's what you want, I will be there and I will be happy to draw it. And I just wanted to work for Marvel and DC, and I would still love. I wouldn't say no to that. I would still love to work for Marvel or DC, but I've kind of over the last 5, 6, 8 years, I've kind of realized like I don't need that. Like
Right.
the story, like if I want to tell a Doctor Strange story, the story is still there. Like that story that I want to tell is still there, and maybe I can reformat it. And with a lot of things I have done that. Like Johnny Raygun was a book. It was my love letter to like and Matt and I's love letter to Silver Age comics.
Right.
Like we just wanted to modernize Silver Age comics and have that kind of mentality in there. And we took all these tropes and stuff and we did our version of the Fantastic Four in Johnny Raygun.
Right.
And so like I came to realize like I can do my own versions of those characters and get more out of it. Leveling up, I guess, is for me right now at this moment is doing enough to make a living off of it. Like I think that's my level up right now. Like I'm very close. I'm on that edge.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, like this is a tough industry, and getting good paying work, like it's hard. I for those of you who don't know, I was just laid off from a place that I worked at for over 10 years. And, I had the golden handcuffs, like paid well, health insurance, dental, life insurance, everything, right? It was great. And now I don't have any of that. And I've been doing freelance since November. And it's been really, really hard. Thankfully, like I've been mostly making it. Leveling up would be being able to do comics. Like right now, I'm working on comics, but it's so slow. Like the 8 pages that I did for you took 2.5 months because I had to do freelance, like paying freelance in between there to make ends meet, to pay bills and stuff. So, the dream is getting to that level where you're paid enough, or you get enough commissions, or there's enough Patreon members that can support you going on and creating.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people misunderstand the comic industry, and like especially how we get paid, right? So, especially in the direct market, right? We do the book; it's completely done. It's then submitted to them. They solicit the book. They run it. That takes 3 months. They don't get paid for another 2 months. And then you get paid at whatever quarter is after that. So it's 9 to 12 months for one issue.
Yeah, I was just explaining that to somebody. They're like, "Oh, well, why don't you just do a comic and make some money?" And I'm like, if I start a comic today, it's going to take me a month to do. And I did the math just like you did. I'm like, you're 6 to 9 months away from an actual paycheck, like no matter what. Yeah. And you can't survive 6 or 9 months on nothing. So you've got to buffer that somehow. So that 6 to 9 months of putting together the book and getting it published like turns into a year and a half or whatever. Yeah.
Well, and as like I do, you deal with when people want to pay you for art and stuff or comics. They're various different levels. So I do the lawyer book with no contest. I'm doing all the production. I'm basically managing. I'm not just writing it because he doesn't know how to do that stuff. So it's not a publisher. It's a guy who wants me to do a comic. He pays well, and we pay and we do the book. But there's all this extra stuff.
Oh yeah, No, you know what? One of the first things I was like, I got to thank Travis. For not asking me to letter this. Like usually I have to do everything from penciling to lettering, coloring and lettering. It's like I was happy to color it, but I was like, God, I don't want to letter it. Like that's my least favorite thing. It's probably the thing I'm the worst at. I'm okay, but it's not something I want to do. Who is lettering? Is Joel?
Jerome, the guy who does all my books.
Oh, awesome. Very cool.
I think what I admire most about Rich is that something I pride myself for too, but the goal is not mainstream, is to create your own stuff, tell your own story. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's, again, as I've gone through this path, I find out that's my goal, but also I've also found that's what makes me special. Like at the end of a con, everyone's like, hey, let's go all hang out with the same people we want to hang out with and have a beer. And I'm like, well, Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman and all these cool guys who are doing cool shit that I want to be doing are doing this other thing over here. I'm going to go do that because that's where I want to be. And it's counterintuitive, but it's also beautiful. Because I think it's a beautiful thing because I can probably wipe the floor with almost everybody in indie because I read it and I love it. And that's what I care about. Yeah. And I think that's why I'm successful too, because I can see what tricks are working in that scene that I can bring back. I know some people are doing good stuff in mainstream comics these days. Don't tell anybody. All right, your last question here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, and this will help you with all the stuff that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about. Is what do you want your next level up to be?
Oh yeah, next level up. So I want to draw hands better.
Well, I mean, AI is not catching up on you, so you're
I don't know. I don't know if I'm as good as AI yet. Like I still put in like 8 fingers when I'm supposed to have 4 fingers and a thumb. Yeah, my next level, it really is making the enough money to survive off of. But I feel like I feel like I am at that point where you probably know this too. Like you reach kind of plateaus,
Right.
and you kind of glide along for a little while, and then something happens, and you're like, oh yeah, I definitely just leveled up and just kind of you you hit that marker, and something clicks or whatever. And I definitely feel like recently, in the last like 6 months, like that's happened for me.
Yeah.
I feel better about some of the stuff I'm drawing, not all of it, but some of it. And career wise, like I vague booked about it today. Today was one of like, it was a great thing. Like 5 amazing things happened that I can't necessarily talk about, but it was like, oh shit, like I didn't make any money today,
Right.
but some pretty awesome stuff just happened that is gonna be pretty big for me in the next 6 months to a year is gonna be pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like, what opportunities come up, and how do you leverage those opportunities, and is that opportunity better than the opportunity before, and trying to figure all that out.
Right. Yeah, I think that's another thing is it's important to try to make, if you're not making a lateral move, trying to make a move up.
Right.
Because there's a lot of going back moves that are super easy, but that's from a creative point too.
Right.
Like I've already done Johnny Ray Gun. I would love to do more Johnny Ray Gun, but that's kind of a lateral or backwards move for me right now. Like doing something that I haven't done before is one, it's a challenge, and two, it's definitely like, and you probably found this too. Every time you do a new property, you're hitting a slightly different audience. There's always you're gonna have fans that are fans of you, that follow you no matter what you do, but you're gonna get new, like people that like Gods of Brutality don't necessarily like Johnny Ray Gun or even Electric Black. Like Electric Black fans don't necessarily like Gods of Brutality. Like there's a lot of kind of pocket fans, but yeah, you kind of accumulate those Rich Woodall or Travis Gibb fans, which are awesome. And I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, like that next book, you want to try to do something slightly different, maybe that you pick up another genre of fans.
Another handful of here to get to our 1,000, right? You get 1,000
right, exactly.
And I remember, doing my second book when I started Voodoo Nations, going like, why is not every one of my crime guy going to my voodoo book?
Right.
It didn't make logical sense to me. But, even me who buys, because when we go to comic stores, when I attach to a writer, I'm all in, right? Like,
yeah,
like trying to figure that out. But I also, again, going to Cullen Bunn, who I love. I love Cullen Bunn. I read almost everything. I cannot afford 12 Cullen Bunn books a month. So I'm like, you get one a week like we've always had, Cullen.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. Like, and I follow artists more than I follow writers.
Sure, yeah, which makes sense.
So, but even there's some artists that I don't buy everything they do. Like, I'll buy most of the things that most of these guys do. But yeah, it's tough to buy everything, especially when like somebody like Cullen who's doing, like you said, 12 books. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean the comics are crazy. When we were talking earlier about the pay thing, one of the other things that you and I both wanted to work for Marvel. One of the things that I came with reality of about a year ago was I'm fighting for something that if I make it, I get 2 to 5 years tops because they replace you that quickly.
Right. And you may not even enjoy it. Like
most people don't.
I've heard from guys, and I'm trying to like soften my own blow. Like, yeah, you don't need
sure.
You'll hate it anyway. Like I've heard a lot. the guys that are starting out, they're not making even the decisions as to like what the story in the book is. Like if you jump onto Spider-Man,
right, the editor does, yeah,
you're kind of dictate, and I don't know how true that is or not, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't care. I'll suffer. I'll suffer through that if I get a chance to write Jimmy Olsen walking a dog or whatever.
right.
But,
Damn, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so when I was at Granite State Con, I got stopped by someone who has seen my trajectory and we're friends. I can't think of his name right now. You probably know. He writes Vampirella. He wrote the Ninja Turtles like spinoff. Tom, what's his name?
Tom Waite. Tom starts with a W.
Yeah, Waltz.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know,
no,
but yeah.
Does he write Vampirella? That doesn't sound right.
He writes all the turtle stuff.
No. This is the guy who only wrote the. Remember when he did that like parody book recently? Like Kevin Eastman did like the parody book, like Ragdolls. Like
yeah. That was one of the. So Ben Bishop worked on that.
Yeah. So the guy who got the guy who wrote that with
yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyways, he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, Travis, I've been following your career for a while. It's like you get into that step where people are going to ask you to do stuff." He's like, and Zetascope is a great company, and they're going to ask you because Zetascope does that. They look for great talent.
Yeah.
Don't work for Zetascope. Work for Dynamite. There's less notes, less work. But this is random advice. Like the first time video going, like you're at that point. Dynamite, you'll have less notes. So just stay like that.
I mean, that's kind of invaluable.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of a cool thing about where we are, where we know enough people at different companies that we could be like, hey, I was thinking about pitching to so-and-so. Like, you've worked for them. What do you think? Right. Like, how is that working out? And they'll be like, no, don't ever go to blah, blah, blah. Like, go to this one over here. I worked for them and they were great. So yeah, that's kind of a cool position for us to be in now.
But we are done. Is there? Do you want to talk about your Patreon? Do you want to talk about any of your stuff?
Yeah, I'm always open for commissions. I've got on my Facebook pinned to the top of my wall. There's like there's examples of commissions that I've done, and there's a list of prices. PM me, and I would love to draw anything for you. Also, if you want to support me on a monthly basis for as little as $1 a month, and you get behind the scenes looks at all the stuff that I'm working on, you get preview stuff. Hopefully I'll get back to doing like a weekly comic book at some point there. But there's lots of stuff. I post 2 or 3 times a week on my Patreon, which I think I'm sure I have a link on my
it's just patreon.com/Rich Woodall.
Yeah, so it's nice and easy. Those are the
all the links will be in our description. Todd will take care of that.
Awesome. Great. And I'll just throw in if you want to go to my store, if you heard about one of the books that maybe we mentioned and you want to buy something, projectpandoraentertainment.com. That's got my portfolio on it, and it's got a little bio about all the crap that I've done, and it's got the shop there. You can buy prints and books and all kinds of stuff there.
And I'll be signing this cover on Wednesday.
Have a good one, Dana.
So I'll be signing the trade and the Virgin dress. So if you want to come out there, we can get it. We can send it to Rich. I know his address. We can send it out. We'll get it double signed. He'll charge you a little bit, but it won't be that bad. I'll charge you a little bit just so he makes money. He probably wouldn't. I'll do it.
That's good.
But yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. I really
appreciate having me.
Yes. So
thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man. This is long overdue. I think we were going to do this one other time, and I couldn't make it for some reason. It wasn't Level Up. It was something else.
Oh, probably my Creator Hangouts. Yeah. So I do another show called Creator Hangouts, and then Todd does the burrito. This show was kind of created, I'm at that level where I'm like, I don't know what to do next, right? I got the direct market kicked my ass, which I'm sure it did when you first did it. Like it kicked my ass. I was not ready for the direct market. I thought I was, but I was not ready. Like I'm ready in like sense of like I'm ready to take on that opportunity. But I didn't realize it was so much work on my end. And you hear that from all your friends.
Yes.
But until you live it, you're like, oh no, like it's really all you.
Well, that's what when Joe and I were running Black Caravan, we told the creators. I mean, the reason we sold so well with Electric Black and any of the properties we were involved with is because we reached out to as many different retailers as we could. We did all the legwork, and while we can do that as publishers to a point, the creators, you're the best salesman that the book has, and if you're not selling the book, then how's the publisher supposed to sell it for you? Like they have the same thing that they have to do for every single book. And unless you're one of these Marvel or DC creators that has a giant name, unless you're Jim Lee or whatever on one of these books, you're not going to get special treatment. You're one of 10, 20, 30 books in a line. And so you as the creator have to do the legwork, and it's hard.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, I obviously did well. I'm the best selling stuff, but I also know the numbers of other publishers. So I'm like, all right, so I'm the bestseller here, but I want to be here. So how do I get there? What does that take?
Yeah.
And I took a different approach for Granite State Punk. Like Granite State, instead of hitting all the stores, I hit the ones that I knew carry my stuff, and then I hit New Hampshire hard. Right. But I promise you, there is not a store in New Hampshire that is not picking up Granite State Punk.
That's awesome. Good.
So there is that, and we'll see. But we'll see if that pans out, right? Maybe I'll see that it didn't go the way. You won't know for a couple weeks, and we'll figure it out. And I'll do better the next time until I figure it out. But
that's the best advice. Do better next time.
But thanks for hanging out, and we will get you out of here. We're going to do an outro, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for loving out.
Thanks. See you, Dana.